You can get into an accident and you might be confined to a wheelchair the rest of your life. You may never be able to earn a living. You might not be able to do the basic things in life.
You don't get a second chance. Once something like this has happened to you, you don't wake up and say, well, I better slow down for a while, or because you're not going to get up again.
He wasn't going fast, but perhaps if he hadn't been drinking, he maybe would have negotiated the curve.
All the fears that night just hit me all at once. It was like, yeah, it's really happening. What I've heard about and what I've seen on the news is happening to me right now.
In Canada, the recreational activity that has the highest number of fatal accidents is boating. Second to that is snowmobiling. Anyone who has snowmobiled knows how exciting it is. If practiced properly, it is also very safe. The vast majority of snowmobilers are responsible drivers who ride on club-marked trails and have the know-how to avoid dangerous high-risk situations. Unfortunately, there are those who ride at excessive speeds, go off trails, drink and ride, and then dare to think an accident won't happen to them. Or worse, they don't think about it at all.
Yeah, sure. See you later, guys. See you next week, guys. Woo! Thanks. Winners. Let's get out of here. Let's go. Oh, man, you all right? Yeah. Hammered. You're hammered. I gotta get my gloves. You drive better than you walk. Listen, I'll see you next week. No, just a second. Whoa! Hey, Murphy. You coming to the cottage? Have a couple of beer? Why not? Going home, man. Got enough. Burned out. I'm gonna have one for the road then. See you next week. Take it easy.
There was about an inch of ice that he had snowmobiled out onto, and his snowmobile broke through. He was not in open water, but he was in about an inch of ice. And he was furiously trying to work his way through the ice. And I grabbed him, and as I pulled to try and hold and pull him up a little, the ice broke out from underneath me. At first, I thought, that's not so bad. It's cold, but I was floating. Actually, all the air in my suit was still keeping me up. And within about 10 seconds, that was gone. That sensation or feeling was gone. My suit filled with water and now started pulling me down and dragging me down. And at that point, I turned and thought, no, it's my turn now. I have to get out now. I can't help Brian anymore. I have to help myself. And I climbed out, and Bob kept telling me, throw the line back to Brian, but Brian was gone. So Brian couldn't do anything anymore for himself, and we couldn't do anything for him either.
Day or night, frozen lakes and rivers represent a potential danger to snowmobilers. Always make sure you are aware of the local ice conditions. And if you do ride on the ice, wear a buoyant snowmobile suit. Many snowmobilers are seriously injured or killed while driving on roads. Poor visibility, slippery conditions, and the snow machine's reduced ability to steer on hard-packed snow are all factors in the many snowmobile deaths. These accidents include collisions with other vehicles and fixed objects, such as trees. Remember, a road accident can occur at any time. Obey all traffic signs, drive defensively, and stick to the speed limit.
My son was coming home with two other friends, and he was the last of the three, I guess. Visibility was poor that night because there was a lot of mist in the air. It was very, very cold, and the roads were slippery. It was a slippery night to be out on a machine. There was quite a long curve, and he failed to negotiate the curve, went over the top of the snowbank, and his machine hit a tree, and then he was thrown from his machine, and he hit a tree also, like he was thrown into another tree. And that's where they found his body early the next morning, at the base of this tree. Also, he had been drinking, and no doubt that was a factor in the accident also. Every day I think about it, you know, things that I'll never enjoy with him again, you know. He wasn't married, and there weren't any children. I think of, you know, all the life he had ahead of him yet that we'll never be able to share.
And head a bit towards the front Willoway, and I got the site down there at about 3 o'clock. Looks like one guy down and 2 people on.
What happens if an accident occurs a long way from help? Suddenly, evacuation and access to medical attention become life-threatening situations. Hypothermia, shock, and frostbite also come into play. The person shown here was lucky. He was evacuated by air ambulance. Others are not so fortunate. To minimize high risk, never travel alone or at night, and always make sure someone knows your schedule of arrival. And always carry an emergency kit.
The pressure ridge wasn't there a week before. I got out on the ice, and I never seen it or anything, and all of a sudden, bang, I hit it. That was it. It launched me. So it could happen to anybody, experienced or anybody who's inexperienced or experienced. My leg was, they said, all shattered like an eggshell. My hip was broke or fractured. My femur was broke. And now I've got a plate in my leg with 11 pins in it and a big screw up through the hip. It took at least an hour and a half before any kind of help at all came there. Then it was another hour. They had to call a helicopter. That was another, it ended up 2.5 hours before I could even get off the ice. I could have literally died out in the ice.
As we mentioned, the main cause of fatalities when snowmobiling is drowning, and the main cause of serious injury is collisions on roads and highways. But The leading factor in all snowmobiling fatalities in Canada is alcohol. Alcohol is involved in over 75% of snowmobile accidents. Many people who wouldn't drink and then get behind the wheel of an automobile will jump on a snowmobile when they are over the limit. Driving a snowmobile drunk is exactly the same as driving an automobile drunk. It's a criminal offense and an invitation to disaster.
I have no recollection of even seeing the buoy or hitting it or anybody coming to get me or anything, except in the ambulance about 3 hours later. And first thing I remember is not being able to feel my legs, like not feeling anything down there at all. And it was quite a shock, and I kept asking them over and over again, what's the matter, you know? And my back was really sore, and I was laying on a hard backboard, and it was really, really painful, and they had tubes stuck down me. And all I could think about was my legs, even all the pain I was in. And thinking, you know, when am I going to wake up, whether I'm still dreaming or what's going to happen next. I used to, before I see people in wheelchairs, and, you know, you sit down in them and you wheel them around a little bit, and when you're done, you get up and walk away. You can't do that anymore. You can't stand up to look in the mirror. You can't stand up to go to the bathroom. Once you're in the chair, you're there. It's kind of hard for me to tell everybody, don't go out and drink and drive your snow machine, or don't go out and drink and drive your car, because I did that quite often. And kind of hard for me to tell other people not to do it. Like, you know, who am I to preach to them not to do it? But if you got a choice of whether you have a few beer and go home, or whether you have a choice of just going home, I'd say you're better off to go home rather than to sit in this chair for the rest of your life. I really think hard about it. You know, I wish I had somebody to tell me that night.
If you walk away from this video with only 2 or 3 things, remember these. The leading factor in all snowmobiling fatalities in Canada is alcohol. Don't drink and ride. Second, be extremely cautious on roads and highways. Watch your speed and obey all traffic laws. And third, avoid frozen lakes and rivers. And if you can't, be cautious, know the conditions, and wear a buoyant snowmobile suit. If you think a snowmobile accident won't happen to you, think again.
Think how many times that we've all pushed it and maybe gotten away with it, but there's going to be a point in time you don't get away with it. It's like playing Russian roulette with a loaded gun.
There's always the unexpected, that things could happen, and especially way up in areas that there's no medical help or anything, that you could be in a real bad situation.
You're injured, and it's for good. It's permanent.
There's no way I can bring him back, or there's nothing I can really do about it. Maybe this is a little something I can do.
Snowmobiling is a great sport. Stay on the trails, ride safe, and ride sober.